Hey yo, it's Brian here. Today, gonna be talking about the San Francisco 49ers. As always, not doing a top 3 video. For this one, gonna be grading the 49ers draft as a whole. I'm not gonna be really doing players individually, but as a draft class. Maybe there's parts of the draft that I loved and parts that I didn't love so much. Gonna be talking about that. For the most part, it was a pretty interesting draft. Maybe in a positive way, maybe in a negative way. I don't know. The only way we can tell is when they hit the field and do they produce. That's the biggest question for any draft class, especially for this one. Going to be grading the whole entire 2019 draft for the 49ers. Before I do, a couple of announcements. I did respond to most of you guys' comments in my previous videos. You guys want to take a look there. GoFundMe page. The campaign is over. We were able to raise $50, which was pretty amazing, I would say, considering the fact I never done this before. I never had an experience doing any GoFundMes. This year, I thought it was a pretty successful year. Love to have $350, but hey, can I complain about $50? Not really. Going to be going to my local Costco, going to get that big balloon. Going to be donating about $400 of my own money. I'll show it off to you guys on social media and the next video, whenever it comes out. Thank you guys so much for donating. It was much appreciative. Shout out to all these guys that donated. It's on the screen right now. Hopefully next year we can have a bigger campaign. We can raise even more money for the month of April coming into May for Children's Miracle Network. Again, thank you. Much appreciative. Good thing right there. Before I get the video started, again, please like and subscribe to support my channel. That would definitely help me out a lot. Click that bell notification to get notified of future videos. Share this channel. Share this video with fellow Niner faithfuls. Let's get this video started grading the 49ers 2019 NFL Draft. Okay, 49ers Draft Class 2019. For the most part, I kind of liked it. The top half of the draft from rounds 1 through 3, I thought it was a pretty good draft. And then rounds 4 through 7, or rounds 4 through 6, because they didn't have a 7th round pick, it was a little interesting. I don't know. Hopefully they all work out. Just looking at the draft, it was a pretty weird, interesting part of the draft. Some players that I really liked that Lynch drafted were Nick Bosa. Definitely needed a top guy in the defensive line for the edge rusher position, and they definitely addressed that. You got him, DeForest Buckner, and D4 together on that D-line. It should be wreaking havoc this year in 2019, hopefully. That's a great pick right there. Deebo Samuel, Jalen Hurd, wide receivers. That means that the Niners right now, they don't really trust their current receiving core. These two guys, they look like studs. Jalen Hurd, some people say he's a reach, but I believe if you think he's the best player available in the wide receiver position, or just any player, you just take him, and that's probably what they believed in the 3rd round, was taking this guy. Deebo, really good guy. I think he's 5'11", 6'0", or something like that, 214 pounds. So he's a pretty big, little short receiver, but he can do a lot for the 49ers. He can run routes. He can get separation. That's everything that Kyle Shanahan wants. Jalen Hurd, he's a big receiver. Hopefully he's a technically sound guy. He's more of a raw talent. I think with all the receivers that we have, they're pretty much small. The only tall guy, kind of big guy, I guess you want to call, is Dante Pettis, but is he even that big? We really needed a big receiver right here, and we finally got Jalen Hurd. Some people wanted Hakeem Butler, but I'm pretty sure the Niners, they have their reasons why they passed on him. I'll leave it like that. Hurd, if he can be what I think he can be, then he's going to be an awesome pick for the 49ers, and he's going to be a mismatch for any defensive back or any linebackers. That was a great pick, in my opinion, if he works out. Mitch Wishnowsky in the 4th round. This was a lot of controversy within Niner faithful. People were like, oh, why did we draft a punter in the 4th round? Freaking crazy right there. I believe if he's the best punter in this draft, you just draft him no matter what. I mean, the Raiders, they did Sebastian Janikowski in the 1st round in the year 2000, and he turned out pretty well for them. I hope he's not a Roberto Aguayo situation from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just sucking it up for the whole team, being a 2nd rounder and being cut eventually by them in a year or two. So that's what I'm not hoping, but this is a different position. It's a punter, not a kicker, but still, a punter is very important in a football game for special teams. You look at the LA Rams, you look at the New Orleans Saints, they have very good punters, and they can kick the ball really far and try to get them to the 1-yard line, and that's what you want from your punters. They believe Wishnowsky is the best punter available. They believe he could be like an Andy Lee player. I can't be too disappointed, although I don't know if he would have been available later on in the draft, but hey, you better take him right now before somebody else takes him, like the Patriots or something like that. Dre Greenlaw, I saw some tape of his. Yeah, you know, he looks all right. He looks like a nice depth player for Kwan/Fred Warner. I think he plays weak side linebackers. They have it right there. Caden Smith, I watched some tape of his. He can get separation. He's a pretty big dude. I think he's like 6'5", 255 pounds. That's what he's listed as. That's a really good complementary piece to George Kittle and in the passing game as well. That's great right there. That's probably one of my favorite low-key picks in this draft, was drafting this guy. I believe he can be a very good pass-catching piece for Jimmy Garoppolo and for Kyle Shanahan. Justin Skule, offensive tackle. I mean, you know, it's a tackle, so that's a need right there. I'm surprised they didn't address the safety and guard position. I thought that was a big need for both of them, especially the safety position. They really believe in Jimmy Ward for whatever reason. They believe in Colbert, Jaquiski Tart, that whole backfield. Although I like the strong safety position with Tart and Marcel Harris, but the free safety position, I'm a little worried. I don't know if Colbert's going to be the 2017 version of himself. Jimmy Ward, I don't know if I can trust that guy no matter what. Even if he does well for a little bit, he's going to get hurt again. I don't wish injury upon people, but that's just the injury history of Ward. I'm just a little surprised that they didn't draft a free safety in any rounds. You know, they could have got Juan Thornhill from Virginia or something like that in the 3rd round, but, you know, it didn't happen, so whatever. Guard, I'm surprised they didn't address that at all as well. I mean, I do like Mike Person and Lincoln Tomlinson, but I don't know if I can trust Tomlinson. Person, I'm okay with, but Tomlinson, I don't know. Kind of iffy with me and him. That was surprising they didn't address the guard position right there. So, yeah, I mean, most part, in the later rounds, they really thought their roster was good enough to not draft any starters. They thought their starters right now are very good. They're ready for week 1. That's what it looks like from the later rounds. And then the first early rounds, they definitely needed an edge rusher. They definitely needed a wide receiver. And they pretty much needed a punter. I don't know if that was that urgent, but they needed a punter anyways. It was needs and depth, which is, I guess, a good thing right there. But I believe the 49ers, they're overestimating the roster a little bit because we still have a little bit of holes, in my opinion, on this roster. Hopefully, they prove me wrong and they can have a great 2019 campaign with all the positions that they didn't address. All right, so talked about that, talked about all the players in a quick summary right here. If I had to give a grade, I'd probably give it a B as a draft class. I can't give it an A completely because I thought they kind of not floundered, but I thought they kind of underwhelmed in the later round. In the top part, I had to give it an A as an overall draft grade from rounds 1 through 6. In this case, I had to give it a B because I thought it was a really good class in terms of the early rounds, but at the same time, the later rounds, I was a little questioned that they didn't address some needs like the safety and guard positions, as I said before. Although I love the Caden Smith pick, I think that's going to be one of the great picks for the 49ers come this season and in the future. That's my grade right there. I'll give it a B. I think that's a pretty respectable grade. Some people were very nice to them, like the NFL.com. They gave them an A-, which was, wow, crazy. Some 49er website, they gave them a C-, which is pretty reasonable. Probably upset for the late round picks and drafting a punter in the 4th round. But for me, I give it a B, and I'll keep it like that. Please let me know what grade would you give the 49ers draft class as a whole, not just one part of the draft, but as a whole. Please, I'd like to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. And if you guys like this, please like and subscribe to support my channel. That would definitely help me a lot. And I'll be catching you guys up tomorrow for Throwback Thursday. I'll see y'all then. Bye, guys. Love y'all. Y'all have a good rest of your day. Go Niners all day.